Am I wrong for telling my husband if his sister isn't moved out by Jan next year I'll be the one moving out? I know how the title sounds. I've been with my husband since I was 17 and he was 20. His sister is 4 years younger than him. 3 years into our relationship we got married. I'm 28 now. I gave birth 8 months ago and I'm currently 6 months pregnant with our second. 2 years ago my husband's sister lost her flat. She had a 2-year-old, so I of course agreed to let her stay with us. Rent for her is £200 a month, which barely covers her food, and we specified she would have to tidy up after herself and her child because my husband and I both work full-time. I've been off for a while now. I'm still working from home though, but no longer go into the office, and while his sister has never been the tidiest, she did the bare minimum. She now does absolutely nothing apart from making a mess. My husband helps out sometimes, but, bless his heart, he can burn water and he has no backbone, meaning despite only having one child at the moment I'm tidying up after 2, 3 if you count his sister. My husband wants to give his sister a break since she's not been late on rent and helps us out sometimes so we can have a day for ourselves. We pay her £11 an hour for that. Since getting pregnant with our second, all she's done is talk down to me. We've had some heated arguments. My husband tends to stay neutral. I'm sick of her. I've mentioned it to the both of them. If she isn't out by January I'm leaving. If she continues giving me attitude she can leave by October. My husband is now upset for alienating his sister who's trying to get her life back on track, saving for a house, considering going university and working. At this stage I don't care if she starts tidying up after herself. I'm done, but now I'm wondering if I'm being harsh and overreacting. Am I wrong? My 19F, pregnant sister-in-law, 26F, is cold and short with me, but kind to everyone else. My 19 years old female, pregnant sister-in-law, 26 years old female, is cold and short with me, but kind to everyone else. Using a throwaway just for privacy reasons. Sorry if this gets long at all. My sister is a lesbian, and married her wife a year ago. They receive financial support from my parents. They're wealthy, and generous, have good jobs, and as such, have decided to have a baby. Currently, her wife is about 6 months pregnant, and the two of them are visiting for holidays. I'm in college, so I don't see them very often. Yes, my parents give me financial support as well, everything is fair and square, but I'm really excited for their baby. My sister and her wife had been dating since their senior year of college, and were friends since childhood before that. I'm 7 years younger, so I was kind of left out of the loop. I never knew my sister's wife until they got married, and even then, I was swamped with my first year of college, so I didn't really ever get to know her. I was really excited though for this trip, since we'd get some one-on-one time together. Our parents live about 2 hours away from my sister and her wife, and I flew in from across the country. We're all staying with our parents, who are not yet retired. My flight got in yesterday late at night, so I slept in. My parents went to work, my sister went to go do some shopping. My sister-in-law stayed in with me, but I didn't realize she was around until she came downstairs while I was making lunch. She's pretty obviously pregnant, and I haven't seen her since her wedding, so I was really excited to see her. She was not. I said hi, and went to hug her, and she backed away. I apologized, and she just kinda looked at me weird, and went looking through the fridge. I tried to make small talk with her, so I asked when she was due. She gave me a really weird look, like I'd asked what her cup size was, and then just said March and kept making her food. I said I was really excited to have a niece or nephew, then asked if she wanted a boy or girl. She sighed really loudly, said she didn't care, and moved on. My sister had mentioned that her wife had PTSD due to a previous pregnancy, so I worried that might have been it. I tried to shift the subject, and asked how her work was. She set her knife down really loudly, stared at me for 30 seconds, then said fine and went into the dining room without saying anything else. Throughout the day, I kept just trying to interact with her, offered to get her a drink while I was in the room. She just muttered no, asked what she was watching, you wouldn't know it, it was The Simpsons, said I was really glad she was spending the holidays with us, a very begrudging yeah. Really, I thought this must just be how she is. Then, my parents and sister came home, and she was super cheery and nice to them. My dad was asking if they had names picked out, and she just wouldn't stop chattering on. My sister said she wanted a family name, and her wife insisted on a unique name. My mom pointed out that my name, Anais, isn't very common, but it's also a family name, same as my grandmother, and they should consider it. I said I wouldn't mind having a niece with my same name, and my sister was really enthusiastic about it. Her wife gave me a death glare. I just ended up getting the silent treatment. At dinner, I asked if she would pass the potatoes, and she didn't listen. I repeated myself, she ignored me, And then my sister told her I had asked for her to pass the potatoes. Suddenly, she was all bubbly and giggling. Guess I didn't hear. What do I do? Should I tell my sister? Directly challenge her? I have very positive relationships with my parents and my sister, and I want to be really involved with my niece/nephew, so I really don't want to go 100% no contact or anything. How can I try to resolve or at least get over this? TLDR, my sister's pregnant wife is weirdly cold and kind of short with me. What to do? Update. As of this morning, so, we all had breakfast together. I sat across from my sister, between my parents, with my sister-in-law kitty corner to me. My sister-in-law actually spoke to me, but it wasn't all that positive. She asked if I was seeing anyone, in kind of a snarky tone. I said no, school was really busy, I just didn't have time, etc. She responded, well, not everyone finds someone. My sister tried changing the subject, asking my parents whether or not they'd gone to their winter home yet. They're those rich people. My sister-in-law was so nice to them. She was saying what a gorgeous house it is, how grateful she was to have been able to take a vacation there with my sister last month. My mom is easily flattered, so once my sister-in-law got started, she started gushing about her, and it was just a mush fest. After breakfast, I offered to go take our dogs for a walk. When I came back, my parents had left with my sister to go shopping again, and my sister-in-law was the only one home. She asked me how I was liking college, and I said I was liking it a lot. I major in pre-dental, started talking about it a bit, and she rolled her eyes. I apologized for oversharing, and she said, no, it's fine. You just have a problem with reading the room, I guess. Then, she walked away. When my sister comes home, I'm definitely going to tell her about it. What the actual F? I would talk about this privately with your parents and your sister, because honestly, it sounds like there is a big underlying issue. Had you ever met her before, even just briefly? Your situation actually pissed me off while reading this. I'd have a conversation with your sister and parents in private. Not sure how your family dynamics work, but I really think you should have a talk about this with the most appropriate person to go to. This is not okay. Update. My 19 years old female, pregnant sister-in-law, 26 years old female, is cold and short with me, but kind to everyone else. So, I didn't get the chance to talk to my sister. When my parents came back from shopping with my sister, my mom started saying how she had the perfect onesie for her granddaughter. Before my SIL could start gushing, I asked what my mom meant. She asked if I hadn't heard I'd be having a niece, and I replied I hadn't. My sister said it was weird, because she'd asked her wife to tell me once they'd gotten the ultrasound. Her wife had zero excuse, and had the most deer-in-the-headlights reaction. There was something that just sort of snapped, and I started crying. I felt kind of spoiled and horrible for it. So I apologized, and went upstairs with the dogs. My parents came upstairs, and my mom went to go ask if I was okay, and my sister and her wife started shouting downstairs. My mom basically said that my SIL does not like me, and that it wasn't really my fault, she's just bad with people she doesn't know, and took it out on me inappropriately. And yes, my SIL was still pissed about the wedding date thing, which just made it worse. I felt really shitty and just like really bad. Part of it wasn't my fault, but part of it was my fault. And apparently my sister knew about both issues beforehand, and had given my SIL directions to try and get along with me. They were still shouting downstairs, and I was kind of bordering on a meltdown. So I asked my mom if we could take the dogs for another walk. We went out the back, and when we came home, my sister had left the house to cool down, and her wife was upstairs. I spent most of the rest of the day downstairs, until my sister came home. She had obviously been crying, and was in a bad mood. My mom took her into the kitchen to try and calm her down, so I kept sitting in the living room. I felt like a bratty little kid again. I genuinely felt like I'd fucked up my sister's marriage and probably ruined our relationship in the process too. Everything just felt awful, and when my sister came out of the kitchen, she didn't even look at me, just went storming back upstairs. Her wife started yelling first, and they were fighting for a while before it got quieter upstairs. My mom, dad, and I went out for dinner, and when we came home, my SIL was waiting for us. My SIL apologized to me, saying she had been petty and rude, and that the wedding date thing had been a non-issue. I said it was okay if she was upset about the wedding thing, but I wish she had let me know. She said it wasn't that easy, since my sister would basically take a bullet for me, and it had caused them a big fight before their wedding. I said I had no idea, and that I was sorry to be the source of that tension, and I just wanted to be able to be a good sister-in-law myself, and be a good aunt. My SIL got angry, and said I had ruined the opportunity for the first one, and she wasn't banking on the second one. Then, she stormed upstairs, and she and my sister got into another big fight. I felt awful. The bad feelings manifested physically, and I spent most of the night throwing up while my sister and her wife fought. My mom was really kind to stay up with me, and my dad tried to get my sister and her wife to get off each other's backs. I specifically heard my SIL shouting, "Who would you jump in front of a train for, me, or her?" And my sister responded, without missing a beat, "My sister, no questions asked." They got quieter after that, and my SIL started up the screaming about an hour later saying, "I'd let all my siblings die for you." My sister slept on the couch, and the two of us went out for breakfast in the morning. She basically said that after my SIL gave birth, she and my sister were going to separate. They would try counseling prior to the birth, and afterwards too, but if things weren't getting better, they'd be divorcing. I said that it shouldn't have gotten that far, and I was sorry for pushing the both of them. My sister said that my SIL does this to all my sister's friends, and they've been fighting often, but she clarified that the way she treated me was a deal breaker. She said it might have sounded sad, but I was her best friend from birth, and she wouldn't let me not feel welcome like that. I felt really guilty, and started crying again. She kept saying she wanted it this way, their relationship was broken as is, etc. It's been tense and awkward ever since. My SIL won't look at me or speak to me, and I've given up. My sister has been by my side a lot, and has amped up the good sister behavior 10x. I feel like shit, everything is really terrible. And I'm sure I'm going to be making another post during the actual Christmas bullshit. Not a great update, but there we are. DL, doctor, my sister and her wife are separating because of my SIL's behavior towards me. Here's the thing, OP, you didn't do anything wrong. This isn't your fault. Sure, the issues are manifesting in a way that make it seem like it's your fault, but I promise it's not. Your sister has made it clear to you that there have been issues going on for quite some time. And I know it might seem like this is all out of the blue, but it only seems like this because you've been away. People who fight like this don't just start fighting like this, it goes on for some time and builds up and comes to a head. That's what you witnessed. Your sister's love for you is genuine and you should appreciate the fact that you have an incredible sibling. Please don't blame yourself, OP. Your sister-in-law's behavior is absolutely unacceptable, but it is not your fault, at all. I genuinely hope you feel better. This will pass, and you'll be okay. You all will. Just please do not beat yourself up over it. You've saved your sister from a miserable marriage. Your sister-in-law already badly behaves towards your sister's friends. It has nothing to do with you, it's who she is. If you hadn't existed, she would have found something to get into a snit with one of your other family members. She's either subconsciously or deliberately been forcing your sister to choose sides with loved ones as a tactic to isolate her. Her behavior towards you has allowed your sister to finally break the cycle and get out before it's too late. I am scared for my son's girlfriend, 17. I am a father and my son C, 18, is a freshman in college. He is home this semester for remote learning. His girlfriend H is a senior in high school and is 17. My son went to drive her home, but they came back to the house. She was sobbing. She showed text messages from her mom and her new boyfriend, calling her a little b, saying she was worthless, saying they were going to make her pay. My son walked her in and heard everything. She got home late from the time her mom needed her home. She did not tell her. H's mom kicked her out. H's mom is a psychopath. She is always drunk and on drugs. She brings random man home. She never feeds her. Now she kicked her out in the cold at night. H loves her mom. She will come stay with us for a few days. Then her mom suddenly gets sober and misses her. She will go home and cook and clean for her mom. Then it happens again. She keeps getting heartbroken. H is very smart, kind and a genuine good person. My wife is head over heels in love with her. I want to help her, but I am not sure how. She can't keep going back and forth. I don't know what we can do. Could her mom call the police on us? Or could we get in trouble? I don't want to scare her off, but I don't want to let her keep getting her heart broken by her mom. I also don't want strange men to have access to her. Before the pandemic, she used to travel with us. When their relationship got bad, we would take her to Paris or Antigua with us. She would stay for school nights and go away with us on weekends. Now, the island our beach house is on is red. We don't have an excuse to keep her. I am so worried about when my son goes away for college. I would be fine with her staying, but I don't want to deal with her mother. H also keeps wanting to go home and see if it's suddenly better. TLDR, my son's girlfriend's mom is a drunk and drug addict and I am not sure how to help her. Maybe call CPS, and I doubt she'd call the police cause if she is an abusive parent and is on drugs and creating an unsafe zone for her daughter, she'd essentially be telling on herself. To be honest, Until H is 18 you cannot interfere with her relationship with her mother. Her mother could accuse you of kidnapping H. If you take H off to an island and she does not have her mother's permission you could get in trouble. H is a minor, plus she wants to be with her mom, sober or not. The most you can do is to let H know she is always welcome in your home. She can come to your family for help, advice, money, support, a place to stay, a car ride, etc. Also tell her to be aware of the extra men her mother hangs around and to kick, holler, scream as they try to pull anything. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.